Hey guys, welcome back. In this week's episode, we are doing a functional 3D print. This one's going to be quick and easy, and we're using the CR10 to print this because that's my only FDM printer that I have at the moment. What we are doing is I have this Canon Vixia HFR 800 camcorder, and I like to use it. It works well. It's like 1080p, but it makes a good clean image. The only time it doesn't is whenever there's low light. And it creates a grainy, awful image, and I don't want that. So we need to fix this, and I'm going to be printing an adapter for a ring light that's going to slip on this, and it's also universal with my main camera right now that I'm using, and you'll see that later on in the video. This project is really easy to do, and all the files I use, they'll be down below, and you can have it for free. If you need it, use it. That'd be great. It could help you out, but I'm not going to drag this on any longer. So let's get to the project, and I hope you enjoy. First thing you will see is I have my model here, and I have a portion of it ungrouped so we can see some of the shapes I used to create this model. First thing we are looking at is this outside ring. It has a measurement of 174 millimeters in diameter. I started making a cylinder that is 174 millimeters. Then I brought in a smaller cylinder that is selected as a whole, and it's sized 4 millimeters smaller than the outside one. And we will group these two together, and that's how we'll make the outside ring. Next was making the inside ring. We used the same process as the first ring, but with smaller measurement. The outside orange ring is a 77 millimeter cylinder used to create the outside diameter, and the inside diameter is a 69 millimeter cylinder that I selected as a whole. Since that's a measurement I pulled off the camera lens, so that it'll be a snug fit pretty much. Then we will group it. The support arms in the middle are just a simple cube that I sized 49mm by 9mm, and I just spaced them around evenly to hold the inner ring to the outer ring. We group it all together, and we are left with our model that will mount the light to the camera. It's super easy to do, and you will see the inner adapter I make to fit the other Canon camera is super simple and only takes a couple steps to finish. This is the adapter I made to fit inside the light mount. I'll ungroup it so we can see what I did. I placed a cylinder that is 68mm to fit within the center circle of the mount. I used a 1mm tolerance just to make sure it would fit well with the main adapter. And for the inside portion, I used another cylinder selected as a whole and set it to be 65mm to fit over the camera lens. That gives us a 3mm thick ring that will work perfectly as a spacer. We will group it and see the inner adapter we needed. We are going to export the STL files, bring them into Simplify 3D, and set up the print. We have imported both models into Simplify 3D. We can see how the adapter ring will nest with the inner ring of the mount nicely. As for the settings used to print this, we are using a standard 0.3mm layer height with 3 top and 3 bottom layers. We're using an infill of 5% as well as the skirt that we have set to be touching the model. As for temperature, we will be printing this in PLA at 235 degrees Celsius. I'm not using the heated bed, just nozzle temp and glue stick on the glass. I'm using MakerGeek's PLA, which does have a higher print temp. Unfortunately, MakerGeek's is no longer a thing, but they sponsored my old channel, so I have a bunch of it stockpiled, and that's what I still use. I will be printing at a speed of 60mm a second, which should be decent quick while maintaining good quality since we want the parts to fit around an object. I will be using the same settings for the inner ring as well. After being sliced, the main adapter is quoted for 1 hour 42 minutes, but real print time was 1 hour 49 minutes, so only 7 minutes longer than what was estimated. That's not too bad at all. The inner ring was estimated at taking 8 minutes to complete, but the actual print time was exactly 30 minutes. It was a little over, like 30.39 or whatever. So much bigger difference than the first model. We will save these off to the SD card and start printing them. Once they are done, we'll come back and we'll assemble and we'll test it out and we'll see if this whole adapter thing works how I intended to work. Alright, so the print has finished, and here's the main adapter model. It came out pretty nice, and here's the inner ring adapter. You may have seen that the time-lapse was in a black PLA. That was simply because I messed up the time-lapse multiple times. But we're going to sit here and try to get this on, and you can see it's a little bit snug, and that's mostly just because of that skirt that I put on there. So we're going to have to sand that off later. This is the light that we're using, and I've already had this mounted before, so I know that this part's going to work. It's the adapter that I've not done, the one for the other Canon that slips inside. So you can see this tape on here. It's just double-sided foam tape, and it holds really well. It's been on there for quite a while now. So we're just going to stick this on, give it some good pressure, and that's solid. It's not coming off unless I actually pry it off with something. But now we need to see if this actually slides in here how it's supposed to. And just like that, it's a super nice fit. Of course, it'll expand a little bit when we force it on the lens. You'll see that later also. But it's going to be super snug fit, which means we don't have to worry about it falling off the camera. So it doesn't fit, obviously. We got to get rid of that little foot thing. So we're going to do a quick sand session. And this is just really to get that burr off the edge. It's not going to affect it going on, but it just creates an elephant foot that we have to get rid of so that the camera lens will actually fit. You can see when I try to do this, it actually still doesn't go on. And that's because the tolerance is just so tight. So what we're going to have to do is set it down on the workbench, and we're going to place the camera on it and push down with pressure, and that's going to slip the adapter right over the lens. This is a cheap lens that I got because I wanted a wider angle, and you see it slipped on. We just had to give it a little pressure, and now it's nice and flush, and you can't even tell that it's there really. It doesn't really add any thickness, it doesn't add any weight. It came out nice. Now it's time to see if it fits in the thing. This is a pretty snug fit, but if I twist it in, it just locks in and it is not going anywhere. That's why this is so great, and that's why 3D printing works out so well, because you can do stuff that you need to get done. You see it here, and it's on. It's not going to come off unless I physically take it off or I break the plastic, which hopefully I'm not going to break the plastic. It is PLA, so it could. It'd probably melt if I filmed outside with it. We're going to test the light function, and it works perfect. It plugs in USB, you can change the brightness, you can change the color tone, and it works. It's gonna change the way the video looks. We'll do a test at the end so you can see a before and after. We'll do both cameras, because this Canon, it actually has horrible low light, and I just haven't gotten a really good picture. So we're gonna try it, because it'd be cool to have like a secondary camera, like the overhead cam be this. But I like it, and it works, and I'm excited. You can see that it takes a little force to get it off, which is exactly what I needed. And that's the whole adapter. We are going to switch over to the main camera right now. This is the EOS Rebel, like T6, T7. I think it's a T6. I guess you could read it right there, or I could read it. And just the standard kit lens. You can see it fits on there snugly. And I've not had any problem using it, because that's what I used in the intro of the video for this camera. It works well, it lights up exactly how you need it, and the whole function of the lens works. We're going to get these mounted and we're going to test them. We'll test both of them just to see how the other Canon is and see if it's any better. So let's get that set up, and that's where we'll come back at. So the project is finished. You saw the process of making these mounts. Now it's on this camera, and we're going to test it out. The first test is going to be the Canon, I believe it's the EOS Rebel T6. And right now the light is on. I also have two other lights here illuminating my body. So we're going to simply turn it off, and we're going to see if there's any difference. We'll turn it back on, and you can see if there's a difference. I can't see because this camera right now doesn't have like a monitor facing me, but I'll be able to tell with the other one. We're off, and now we're on. Does it look any different? I don't know. So we are going to switch over to the other camera, and we will do the same test over there and see how it goes. Alright guys, this is the other Canon, and this is the one we're going to be doing the test. This is the camcorder. It's the HFR 800. This is with the light on, and this is with the light off. Light on, light off. I can tell by looking into the viewfinder over there that it does look different. It's a little darker. There's a little more shadowy things going on, and here I'm much more brighter, but there is a glare on the monitor behind me. I see no glare, but my face is much more lit up. I think it worked. I'm definitely going to use it so I can have more versatility with this camera inside in the dark and low light areas. But that's going to conclude it for this episode, guys. So please leave a comment down in the description. Any ideas you have, we can surely get to them. But don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. We want to build this up, and I want a good community. Any suggestions you have, I will definitely listen. I'll read all the comments. But until next time, guys, see you later.